All right. So we are going to get started. Good evening, everyone. I hope that tonight has been eventful. I hope that it has been blessed. I hope that you've had time to rest. This was Saturday. I hope you got out and got some sun this evening or today and got an opportunity to enjoy yourself. We are going to get some information about this amazing company, Zio AI. And so the spelling is XAEL-AI. This is an actual robotics company. And I'm going to give you a thorough breakdown of the ins and outs, the functions of the company. But more importantly, I am excited because I get to share this information with you and see how you want to move forward with this information. You can do more research if you like. You can continue to just listen to my videos, gather more information. I tell people all the time, you want to always start with research. Research is your best friend. And by all means, it is something that I do a lot. And I make sure that anything that I do, I have plenty of research to back it up, to ensure that I'm making the wisest decision for me. And I want the same for you as well. Okay. So, good evening, everyone. Today, I want to slow things down just a little bit, right? And as I'm slowing things down, I want to just sort of have a real conversation about the company, right? Because one of the things that I realized when I first started looking at Zio AI is that it is very easy to jump straight into talking about the money, asking about the money, right? How much does the robot cost? How much does it make? How do I upgrade? How do I earn more? And all of those questions, great. They are great questions, right? But I'll tell anyone, if you're trying to build momentum, if you're trying to gain and gather information so that the information can turn into knowledge, then the knowledge can turn into wisdom once you apply the knowledge that you gathered, right? Okay, so we want to start systematically so that we are all on the same page. There's no confusion, but more importantly, you have all of the information needed and necessary to make an informed decision about what your next steps should be and what will be the best next steps for you, right? So let's jump right in. So if you were sitting at my kitchen table, you would say, Chantel, explain this to me because I don't understand what I'm looking at. I wouldn't start throwing numbers at you. No. I'd say, okay, first, let's understand the company, right? That's the first thing. Because if you don't understand the company, you don't know if your values align. You don't know if this is something you even want your name or your reputation associated with. So let's first start with understanding the company. That's what we're doing today, understanding. I have a 44-page investment strategy manual from Zio, and that is absolutely wonderful. But I want to just break it down to you and give it to you step by step. So we're going to walk through piece by piece, right? Not all of it at once. I'm not going to give you this information from a water hose and, break some teeth and throw you back in the air. No, we're going to give it to you out of a glass. And I'm going to let you sip a little, ingest it, and then we're going to come back and get some more sips in, okay? That sounds good for everyone? Give me some thumbs up. Give me some yeses, some hearts, whatever you have in the chat. Okay, great. So today we're not starting with the foundation. Well, actually, today we are going to start with foundation, but more importantly, I want you to understand that this company is not new. It's just new in the US, and it's not even that new in the US. But I want you to understand that if you look up anything, you can look up Google. You're going to get some good reviews, you're going to get some bad ones. But more importantly, I need you to then start investigating who said what and why. I always tell people if you're going to research something, use the 6 C's: the content, the context, the concept, the climate, the climax, and the culture. So when you incorporate all of that, it gives you a broader picture so that you can have full understanding. How does that sound? Thumbs up? Okay, great. So what kind of company is this? We're going to ask all these questions. I'm going to give you answers, right? We're going to ask what kind of company, what are those robots doing, right? Why is there an online platform for it, right? And how do all of these pieces connect? Because once you understand that, everything else starts to make a whole lot more sense, like why we do things the way we do it, how we're doing it, the methodology behind it, right? So, what is Zio AI? I'm going to put up just the picture really quickly. So, I'm sharing my screen, and I want you all to know this is a real presentation. I'm not just sitting here doing stuff, throwing things out there. I am truly, truly sharing this information with you and wanting you to know that, hey, this company, more than anything else, wants you to understand who they are, what they're here to do, and why they exist. Does that make sense? Okay, so, and wouldn't you know it, the images want to act stupid at this very moment. Give me 1 second. We're going to get into the questions in just a second. I want to make sure that I'm getting everything pulled up. And just as I checked everything before we got on here, how many of us know that because I checked it, we know that there's been some difficulties and it's actually acting up. And that's okay. We're going to keep moving forward. We're not going to panic. We're going to pivot, right? And that's what we do. We don't panic, we pivot. Sounds good? Perfect. So while I am doing this and making sure that everything else is working good, now we're going to go back to the share screen. And I'm doing all of this because I want you to know that everything I'm telling you is not only something that is real and true, but it's something that I promise you it's going to encourage you, it's going to bless you, and you're going to actually love what we're going to talk about. All right. So I'm sharing my screen. If someone can give me a thumbs up if you can see this image, and guess what? The image is not showing. And I just checked it again. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Now, I've been doing this and practicing all day, and try right now, it wants to act up, but that's okay. We're going to keep moving forward. We pivot, right? When things don't act right, we do what? My word this year was pivot. So we're going to pivot, right? Okay, so as we're pivoting, I will try to open the images again in just a few moments, but let's go ahead and dig right in, right? So I want you to understand that before I say anything, I just want you to understand this is a robotics company. Those images that you've been seeing of robots out in the workforce, the pictures that you've been seeing of robot dogs working with different police forces, law enforcement, those are real. Those are actual images of some of the robots that this company has created, that they do maintenance on, that they help other companies launch out into the world. And more importantly, when we do that, guess what happens? There's opportunity for someone to benefit from it. Right? So as someone is benefiting from these robots that are out there, every time I go to share it, it stops showing. So I'm not sure why it's doing that. Maybe someone who is a little bit more computer savvy than me can give me some clarity on that, but that's okay. Anyway, let's keep moving forward. So what with the robots? You've seen the robots that walk around. Some are making deliveries. Like here in America, we have DoorDash. We have people that drive and go pick up people's meals, orders, and things of that nature, drive it to their house. Well, in other countries, they have them, and some of them are robots. Some of them are the kind that fly. Some of them are the kind that drive. Some of them are the kind that, walk. Either way, the robotics and the AI industry is growing. And as it's growing, I want you all to understand that you can become a partner in this industry. And that's what Zio AI is all about, right? They're not sitting in the lab in some laboratory. You're seeing robots in different environments. The robots are in warehouses working. They're in different businesses working with customer service. They are you're seeing different styles of robots, whether it looks like a dog, whether it looks like a person, a boy, a woman, a male, or female, whether it looks like a vehicle that's not manned by an actual driver, whether it looks like and what we would call a drone. Whatever you're thinking about when I say robotics, this is lending towards and giving you an image of. And I apologize on the front end and the back end that for some reason these pictures are not showing up when I click on the share button. However, they're shown on my computer, but they won't show on the share. So forgive me for that. However, I want you to understand something. As you're seeing the different applications or hearing about the different applications of the robots, I need for you to understand that because Zio AI exists, especially someone like you, like me, like you, we have the opportunity to be introduced to this online platform. They may think that the platform is a whole company, right? Some people are like, this is not a real company. Actually, it is. The platform is a real company. It does exist. These are real robots. They go out and are deployed every single day, and we gain an income from them being deployed. So that is one way I'm going to break this down. I'm going to give you my personal experiences and encounters in this, because it doesn't make sense to just tell you about what the manual says and not tell you what I've experienced. So first things first, we're supposed to understand the robotics side, right? The manual introduces the company as a company that's focused on commercial application and operations involving intelligent robots. Beautiful, right? I don't know about anybody else, but I get excited when I hear about that because I'm a science buff, right? So when we're talking about somebody, talking to somebody about Zio AI, don't start with saying, well, you put this much money in and you get a robot. No, let them understand what they're doing, what the company does. Back it up. Start from the actual beginning, right? So let me show you what the company says it does and what I found to be true about what the company does. Okay? And quite frankly, it makes much more sense when I start here versus starting by telling somebody, oh, you get a robot. You can up your robot, all these other things. Let's start from the beginning, take it slow, step by step, so that we don't get them overwhelmed with information and we don't get tongue-tied and tangled up in delivering the information. Sounds like a plan? Anybody with me? Give me a thumbs up, hearts. Okay, perfect. So what do the robots do? Let's start there. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because a robot has to have a job, right? If you walk into a hotel, there may be a robot sitting at the counter looking cute, right? That's nice. But what does it do? What problem is it solving? I'm not sure where a phone is ringing. My goodness. I apologize. I'm not sure why I'm hearing some kind of ringing. Okay, there we go. So forgive me for that. You may ask, what services is this robot providing? The manual will tell you that these robots, they do navigation, they do customer service, inspections, advertising, interaction with customers, right? Data collection. So let's make this practical, right? Imagine walking into a large shopping mall and needing directions. When I was growing up, we would have to go to those huge boards that will tell you what every restaurant, where it's located at, and then it'll show you on the map, you are red dot, you're here. And then you have to figure out how to map your way to where you're trying to go. Well, now imagine walking in and needing those directions, walking into a hotel and using the technology to assist you with customer service. Imagine a large industrial property that needs repetitive inspections done on a regular basis, right? Imagine an exhibition center where businesses need information delivered to the visitors. All of those things are now being done by robots. Are you getting the picture now? Is it a little bit more clear? Perfect. So now we're starting to understand the commercial side of robotics. And that's the part I want people to understand before we start talking about anything financial. The questions become, can a robot provide a service that a business finds useful? That business conversation, absolutely. And when you look at these images, and I'm going to try one more time, so bear with me, I'm going to try one more time to see if the images will come up, right? Like I said, they're showing on my computer, but when I hit share my screen, the images don't come up. So just bear with me. We will have this little hiccup fixed. I'll have it fixed for my next video. But when you look at it in this sense, robots are giving you directions. They're giving you clarity and understanding. They're giving you navigation. One robot may not do everything. No, because they are programmed. Each one is programmed. But you may have one style for customer interaction. You may have another type that works better for inspections. And another one may be designed for traffic or navigation. So again, all of the different styles, again, speak to the different duties that they are actually working on and doing. So that is why I want you to really pay attention to what the robots look like as far as their makeup, instead of getting overwhelmed by all of the words that I'm saying, right? I want you to think about, because I know I have a very vivid imagination. And so with that, look at different environments. If the robot has legs, then it can go up and down steps. If the robot has wheels, then it can drive on the road. If it has propellers, then it means it can fly. The different designs, if it's in a warehouse and it looks like it has a front end that looks like the arms for a forklift, that's great for inspections, right? So I want you to have the imagery in your mind of what the different environments require, and then there are robots designed for each environment. Now we're beginning to understand the bigger picture, right? So let's talk about the company and then the platform. So now this next part is probably one of the most important things that I can talk about. There's a difference between the company itself and the platform. So just say it with me, the company and then the platform. They're two different things. And a lot of times we get things like that confused, or we try to merge them together, and then we take away some of the impact, but also we lose some things in translation. So there are two different pieces that connect together. So the company side is described as dealing with things like robot research and development. And I'm speaking it slowly because I want you to imagine this as I'm saying it. Research and development, business cooperation, robot deployment, market development, and operations. So then you have the online platform. The platform is the part that we interact with. So that's where the members participate. That's where we see robots connected to our accounts. That's where the online activity happens on a daily basis. That's where a lot of people are first introduced to Zio AI. So someone can come in to the platform through invitation, or they can research and they can go on the website and they can make the request, right? And they never really stop to understand the company side of it because they came in on the platform. And that's exactly why we're doing it this way, right? And we're doing this particular series because I want to make sure that you understand. The company is one side, the platform is another side, but the two of them together form that cohesive company that is forging a blazing trail in an industry that is opening up and growing and expanding on a daily basis. And so I want you to understand them both so that you have clarity. And should someone ask you questions about it, then guess what? You're able to start breaking this down. So why create an online platform? Now, someone may ask, what if the robotics what if they're just a robotics company? Like, what's so special about that? Why do they need all of these people online? I say that's a good question. And here's what the answer is. Think about any product. any product. You can manufacture the greatest product in the world, right? But if nobody knows about it, what happens? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You need awareness, you need exposure, you need customers, you need businesses that know that your product exists. So the way we get people to know about Xael, that online platform, it helps us expand the awareness and the participation in the market. So that's how the user community enters the picture. So just follow me really quickly, right? First, you have the company, right? Then you have the robots. Then those robots have commercial uses. They have jobs, right? Then the company wants more businesses and more markets that they can launch the robots into, right? Then you have the platform that's helping connect more people to the expansion. That's the flow of Xael. So somebody explaining it like that, it doesn't sound nearly as confusing as the way I started off. Hey, you can make money with a robot. And then you put some money in the company and you get a better robot. And then you can make more money every day when you launch the robot. We're trying to make sure that people have clarity and understanding. Because if people don't understand and they don't fully grasp the need, then guess what? You're not going to get them to even be interested in what you're talking about. Now, there may be some who are just excited because you said something about robots, and absolutely, because I know when someone said robots, I was like, okay, I'm in. But I'm not like everybody else. So how do the participants fit in? Now, let's put ourselves into the picture. Where do we fit, right? We're not manufacturing the robots in our own living rooms, no. And I'm certainly not over here with screwdrivers building them. None of us are, right? We're participating through the platform and the connection of the participants, which are the partners, right? To the things like the market communication, promotions, expansion, and team development. That's our part, right? That's why you hear so much about sharing. Share the information, share the platform, share what we're doing, share the opportunity. Why? Because when people hear about it and you introduce people to the company, it connects back to the market expansion model. And that's the part that I'm describing right now, the market expansion. Again, we're not talking today about compensation. That's another conversation. And I do have one video already on my platform about that as well. So if you just want to know the basics, go for it. But I'm teaching you the structure, the company, the robot, the commercial use, the market, the platform, the participants. And if you remember nothing else from today's teaching, remember those 6 things, right? What are they? The company, the robots, commercial use, market, the platform, the participants. With that in mind, let's walk through the company's timeline. Because some people think that this is a whole new company that just started up and they're not sure if it's going to last. Take a deep breath. Let's pause. And let's go down the timeline. In 2020, Zio AI was established. Now let's look at the timeline. The company started in 2020. And I want you to understand something. In 2020, this world was in COVID. There was a pandemic, a shutdown. But this is when they established and the foundation was laid. So while everything else was going on, this company was working diligently to be prepared for when the lockdown ended. And I need for you to hear me when I say this. In 2023 and 2024, replications and scaling up happened. So that 3-year gap was them doing launching, testing, marketing, research, deployments, and them doing all of the things that a new company would do to test the market and prove their viability. 3 years later, They are already on replicating themselves and scaling up, meaning they're now expanding to other locations. They started in Shanghai and now they are expanding in 2023, right? Now, look, I want you to think about this. Different robots, different environments, different uses. And then the presentation in 2023 and 2024, right? This period is described as the replication and the scale up. Now, what does that mean in everyday language? Basically, you've got something that works in one place. Now you do it again, replicating, duplicating, doing it over in another location, and again, and again. That's scaling, and they scaled up, right? So if a certain robot worked in one hotel, can that kind of service work in another? Absolutely. And that's what they did. If it worked in one commercial environment, can the same type of service be introduced somewhere else? Absolutely. And they tested this over and over again. It wasn't just a once time and done. This was years of testing, years of marketing research, years of deployment, years of them testing it and making sure that not only was it safe, but that it was producing, that it was also able to reproduce over and over and over again. And they've succeeded. So not just creating a robot, but creating repeatable uses for the robots. Are you following me? Thumbs up, hearts, chat. Okay, thank you. All right. So in 2025 to the present, the platform expansion, that was the whole goal, right? So they move into 2025, from 2025 into the present. So let's talk about this part, right? This is where the presentation describes a shift towards the platform-based expansion, because before they had to create a market, they had to create a desire, they had to create a need for their product, and they had to create a want. People have to want it. Like, hold up, they got a new shiny robot. I want a shiny robot. They had a robot in that hotel. I want a robot in my hotel. Creating the desire, right? Creating that need for it and that want for it. And then now we're getting closer to Zio's actual recognition, the online platform. So the platform now is for training, it's for communication, it's for team building, it's for market expansion, more people being introduced to the company. Now you can see why I don't want to start the conversation with the platform, because if I start here, then you would have missed everything that came before it. You would think that the company just started in 2025 and you're like, there's not much out there. No, there's a lot out there. You just have to know where to look and know what to say, because the beginnings of Zio was in 2020 during the lockdown, but they were still doing what they needed to do. Robotics first, commercial application, expansion, then the platform. Now we're following the story instead of looking at random pieces scattered across the floor, right? So where the company says it wants to go, let's talk about it. Now, this is one of my favorite visual things to talk about, because I love this part. You've got robotics, you've got production, you've got warehousing, you've got transportation, you've got business environments, you've got international imagery, you've got everything that's needed for some amazing sci-fi, right? But this is reality. And this is what Zio AI is all about. So 2028 through 2030's vision, this is where the presentation talks. We're going to talk about the broader production, logistics, deployment, commercial expansion, and international development. They came across the water. So now we're all able to get involved, right? I just had a girlfriend in Canada sign up. I have someone that I'm talking to that's living in New Mexico. We are doing some amazing things. And as I start talking more about this, I want you to, if you don't have someone that's with the company or you don't know anyone that's with the company, guess what? Reach out to me, send me a message, and we can talk about it. But I want you to understand that this company is expanding, and we're not looking at this and saying this is already happening. We're looking at the direction that the company is presenting that it's going in. There's a difference, right? So I don't want you going around saying, hey, no, but they are in the US, they are in Canada, they are in other countries. And so we are expanding our reach, expanding to a global market. Why does that matter? Because now I can connect today's activities with the bigger picture that they're describing, right? 2020 was the foundation. 2023 to 2024 was the replication and the scaling. 2025 forward is platform expansion. 2028 to 2030 is the broader global expansion vision. So how much easier is this when you tell it as a story versus describing one piece here and a piece there, right? So let's put it all together. And I don't want to be here long, but I just want to put it all together for you so you can have some understanding and clarity a little bit more, right? So now, as we're putting this together, I want you to learn something really simple. If somebody called you tonight and said, what is Zio AI? Here's how I would explain what we've covered tonight, right? Zio AI is presented in the investment strategy manual as literally a company focused on commercial robot application. Plain and simple. Commercial robot application. Does that make sense? Easy enough, right? You taking notes? I got my pen here too. Okay, great. The robots have different business environments that they work in, and they are described as being used for things like navigation, customer service, inspections, advertising interactions, data collection. And as the company grows its robot industry or operations and this industry, guess what? It also wants to expand into more markets. So the online platform is presented as one part of the expansion. One part. The participants interacting with the company through the platform, this is allowing us not only to learn more, but to bring in more people, to tell more people. Because how many times have you gone to a restaurant? The food was amazing, the service was impeccable, and everything was top tier. How many people did you leave there and tell about it? Now, think about a time you went to a restaurant where the food was bad. You may have saw a bug in the restaurant. The service was poor. The workers were irate or rude. And how many people did you tell about that? So the platform gives us a place and a space where we can talk about the company. We can learn more about the company. We have interactions throughout the day where we're encouraging each other. We are getting tips and tools on how to better explain what we're doing. But guess what? I don't need to give somebody a 45-minute lecture at a grocery store about this. No, I don't need to throw 47 numbers at them and a couple of pictures of some robots. No, I don't have to explain every robot level. No, I can simply give them the foundation. Does that make sense? Because in giving them the foundation and inviting them to even come to the platform, just to see, just to test it out, how many people do you think will come and not stay? So I want to wrap this up. And this is exactly why we're breaking ground with these videos. I'm sure I will not be the only person talking about Zio AI. I need for you to understand that we are here. The company is growing. This is an amazing opportunity, but more importantly, you can get in now while it's affordable, while it's something that is new and cutting edge. How many of us wish that we had been able to get in on the front end of Microsoft, on the front end of Facebook, on the front end of Google, right? Right. You have an opportunity now. So we're going step by step. We're not racing, because I don't want you to be able to explain Zio in a way that sounds like you actually understand just a microcosm of it. And the rest of it, you're like, okay, I'm going to let you just talk to my mentor. No. Repeating something that somebody told you doesn't make you sound like the expert. Understanding it and then internalizing it so that you can regurgitate it. You can tell someone else, you can share it. That's what makes people understand, hey, this may not be just talk. This may not just be some fly by night stuff, right? So today we learned that what the company says it does, right? We learned what the robots are designed to do. We learned why the platform exists, where the participants fit in the model, right? And how the company presents its development from 2020 into the future expansion plans all the way through 2030. So this is our foundation at Zio. Now that we have that foundation, our next conversation can go a little bit deeper. We can start talking about how the business side connects to the financial side, the different robot levels, the earning structure, and eventually team building. But we're going to do it in order. And I don't want you to feel overwhelmed or feel anxious. Like, I just want you to just tell me. Because when you understand the foundation, the rest of the conversation becomes a whole lot easier. So that's today's lesson. The company first, the robots second, the platform third. Then we talk about the participants, the participation, right? And so I'll see you in the next part. So I'm going to ask, are there any questions while I pull up the video? Does anyone have any questions? And I'm going to just sort of skim through to see if anyone had any questions that I need to answer or that I could answer. How can we DM you for more information? You can actually just put it here, or you can actually, thank you for, yes, you're welcome. And I apologize that the pictures for some reason would not open. And I've had them open and I've been practicing this because I wanted it to be really great for you guys. I had some really nice images and for some reason they did not open. But you can DM me. I'm not sure. Are you with the company? First of all, let me see, who is this? Joy Orbison. Are you with the company? If you're not, then you can DM. You can just send me a message on here, because this is my personal channel. You can send me a message on here and I will definitely, so we're going to talk about the PPT next. So I don't want to go into overloading people with information. Like I said, I want to give it to you in bite sizes. I don't want to give you like a water hose effect and you're choking and breaking teeth and flying backwards. No, I want to give it to you in something that you can still drink, right? Okay, so yes, what I will do is I will just shoot you back a response, if that's okay, Joy. Okay, I'll shoot you back a response so that you can get in touch with me and I can answer any other questions. So you've done an amazing job. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Marie. So I'm going to just sort of skim through really quickly to see if there are any other questions. Yeah, pioneers, right? And so the beautiful thing about it is, though, we are at an opportunity. We are really facing an opportunity right in the face that we've talked about. A lot of us have talked about, oh, I wish I was on the front end of, you know what I mean? Like ACN. I wish I was on the front end of Google. I wish I was on the front end of Facebook. I wish I had that opportunity where I could have put in just a little bit and been a part of it. And we have that opportunity now. And I don't want you to miss it. I don't want it to get away from you. And yes, so with that being said, again, for some reason, when I hit the share button, just so for those who came in a little later, whenever I hit the share button, the images would not show when I hit share. It would just be a blank screen. So I'm grateful for you all joining me tonight. And I'm just checking one last time to see if there are any other questions. Business size connects to what? So again, like I was saying, the business side connects to the platform. And so all of this is connected, and you can go back and listen to the rest of the video, the first part, if you weren't able to listen to it, Jessica, so that you can get a fuller picture. Okay, the 6 things. Okay, I'll go back and give you the 6 things really quickly because, yeah, I try really hard not to talk fast, and it's just it's a thing that happens with me, especially when I'm nervous. So let's talk about it. The 6 things. The first one is the company. The second is the robots. The third is the commercial use of the robots, but the commercial use. The fourth is the market. The fifth is the platform. And six is the participants. Were you able to catch that? So you can definitely look online to see if you can find that information. We're going to talk about some of the financial information and things of that nature. I would much rather not go into all of that on this video because, like I said, I just want to make sure that you understand and we give you the basics. We're starting off slow. I want to make sure that we can build momentum and I can answer more questions as we go along. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm happy that you were able to follow me and that I did not get ahead of you because, more importantly, when we have clarity and understanding, it's easier for us to share it with the people that we love and the people that trust us. This is an amazing opportunity. And I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to gain the information so that you can share it positively and properly so that people will know I don't have to feel overwhelmed because people think about the science parts of it. Robotics, what? Launching robots, doing what? What do I need to do? How do I need to? No, let's back up. Let's talk about the company first. Let's talk about the robots. Let's talk about the platform. And then you break it down into bite sizes, the same way we would eat an elephant, right? We take one bite at a time and we chew it to the best of our abilities, and then we make it palatable and swallowable, right? So you all have an amazing evening. I don't want to keep you here super late, but I am grateful. Would love to keep watching the live stream. So, okay, absolutely. None of us know all of it, but guess what? We're learning, right? We're all learning together. And so as I learn and grow and you learn and grow, guess what? We're learning together. And I'm excited that we get this opportunity to do so. So you all have an amazing rest of your evening. Get some rest. And I hope everyone launched their robots tonight. I had to go launch mine because I had to start this meeting before our company meeting ended. So I had to go launch my robot tonight. And I'm excited because guess what? In all of this, we're all getting understanding, right? So again, have an amazing evening and I will talk to you all.